And that's obviously nobody else than Sylph, Melanie, and Ensor, who are doing excellent observing work. From the props to the game, the action is about to start. And who's taking the pistol and setting the pace, we're going to find out.
Big on the attack first, through the short straw. Carcass is just going to manage to survive in that fight against two players, gets one, gets out, gets healed. A big... still dedicating over to this B site. The Wave ESPORTS are expecting him. Carcass going on a wide peak, but now it's just checking either side. One player coming out each at a time. Carcass gets a second.
Yep, but that's it. Story told and chapter ending for the Lithuanian. As though Murray strikes brilliantly, it is the big component of Big out. Aslan eliminated. 2 more are to go. And obtaining control of the site will be one hell of a Hercules task. Opnox and his teammates, they have those struggles. But talking about Opnox, a winning condition for Big, who has turned rounds in the favor of the German team that seemed impossible. Talking about it, tries to penetrate that thin metal, can't make it work. And maybe changing position could be worth a choice.
Fully flashed his Opnox, but he still manages to win that duel. Cider peeks out in a second. And, well, I mean, it's pretty much par for the course for these two guys playing, but a little bit scrappy there on the pistol.
Awkward. The way it works. And if it works, it's all right. On the point. But the thing that is, yeah, this was so weird. But the thing that's crucial to me, Ryan, we're talking about this map, and one thing we always have to point out: it is heavily attacker favored. It is just those attackers that can set the pace, and individuals like Opnox, they dictate playstyle. But we'll see if that's gonna happen.
I actually think it's like, how many teams play the Killjoy as well as the Viper? Viper's usually used as a bit of a sentinel on this map, so having Zig, play on the Killjoy is a bit odd. I guess the main thing overall is you have a Viper's Pit ultimate, you have a Lockdown. These are all massive ultimates. In fact, you look at the majority of what Wave ESPORTS are running with, a lot more high impact on a consistent basis. Or at least racking up the kills towards these ultimates. And Godby has to try and clutch this out. Cider actually getting that Viper's Pit kill too. 3 away from having a Viper's Pit this early on is quite a surprise, as he's 4-0.
Yeah, it seemed like Gop went on a little adventure ride up on the ropes. Was looking for an adventure vacation. And he booked it somewhere in the northeast of Siberia, talking about ICEBOX. But other than that...
Is that where it is?
Yeah, it's actually in the northeast. Was discovered by Americans, but it's officially Russian territory. It's Bennett Island, officially.
Is this actual lore that you're telling me right now, or...?
No, I'm not joking. It was on the VCT clip that it is actually true. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I feel like I should know that as a YouTuber, but, lore. People like lore? No. Skins? Yes, overall.
Look at it. One of my favorites here in the hands of Aslan.
Nah, I'm not Singularity fan.
The absolute best. This is disgusting.
You don't like Mage Punk? Wow.
Disgusting.
One of the oldest skins in the game is in the hands of Cider. He's trying to take that duel, and it's working out nicely for Big. It's still awkward. No kills have happened yet. Just a low health Sage of Bishop, who used to heal up recently, otherwise he'd be used to heal on himself. Alexar does find those duels in the end. It took a while, patient play. Now Wave ESPORTS on this defense have been chippered down just a little bit more, but Muri's making it expensive with the Sheriff.
Yeah. He's trying his best. But Opnox is on it. Wave most likely won't get that retake that easily. Nico is hoping for a miracle, but the only thing he gets is a few bullets in the chest. Big are on it. And the crucial part is, there's an ult at Opnox.
Alex really just held this position nicely. It was a long, laborious fight, but the snap away to stop that trade-in. Wave, we kind of expect them a little bit to try and take that space to get in behind, but Big on ICEBOX don't really seem that confident. Well, not confident. They don't seem that unable to hold off that space in aggressive fights. Easily Alexar could have lost his position there. He's in a 1 versus 2. Nobody can help him. Stands his ground when necessary. There is an Empress available over on the side of Big. I'm just furious. This spike maybe goes down. Might be a nice cheeky way for Muri to get some of these kills. In fact, he's going to face quite aggressively. The Aldron is going to scatter to show that there's quite a lot of Wave Esports players over on the site. That first kill nicely connects onto Aslan.
The hunt begins.
Serena ult. You hate to see it. Bishop actually taking out nobody else than Viper. Cider has no more say in this. He wants to play it out. Ah, nice try, but a little too far he went. They still covered good old Goth, and therefore you can't easily obtain such control. Beautiful by him, by the way. Taking that advantage over the wall. But Big, they still gotta fight off the retake here from Wave.
Bring him back. Muri is so crisp on this map. He's ice cold, it suits him, and Nico's used this chance to hop up onto the high ground. But Muri and Nico standing next to each other, trying to find a way to stop this both plan from coming together. Big up all of that utility, but this deadly duo is working its way through. Alexar with the lineup is going to delay this defuse for a little bit longer. Now it's getting a bit tight with time. They can get the kill, but no, I don't think they do. I think
it does. It disappears in time. Oh, it's just milliseconds. This coming down to the wire. Does he make it in time? He does. Oh, it got close. And this is where I hate Viper at the same time as much as I love it.
I mean, if Lothar was here, he'd be like, you should just literally climb up the rafters, run at her, body block it with your massive pecs and your beautiful hair. Didn't quite work out, though. I think for Big overall, though, it's just Alexar maybe getting a bit ahead of himself, getting the timings wrong. He could have afforded to put that out a second or 2 seconds later. It would have been easy. But it was also smart of Wave to know, I can stand in this for a good portion of time. It won't kill me. Yeah, it really came down to it.
Get out of my way!
You know, I think Lothar had somewhat of a point. He just put it the worst way.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right, you could have tried to body block it, alternatively kill Alex. That also works, but Muri is like... he's like a passenger in this. He's like, oh, let me see if Bishop comes around. Nice to meet you, brother. And immediately beheaded. No chance for the remaining Sova on the side of Wave. And as they try to now obtain ground, Zik is holding it up a little bit, not for too long. Once more the wall comes up, a safe plant.
Zik,
no. No way.
Oh, it was like, oh, this could be good. Never mind. He just racks it off the side and it doesn't go anywhere. And Obnox just adds to the embarrassment. Yet again, Wave going in for this peak. Alexar loves to hold this position. It's great for the post-plant utility. Takes a slivering of damage and vulnerability, but this defuse has been awkwardly stuck. Now, Sider's the last alive. There's no way he's getting in that defuse. Look at the players in front of him.
No universe that is gonna beef up here and find those. And at the end of the day, you cannot deter them. Not a single bit. Surely finding frags would be nice and great. They don't seemingly have it on the radar. But there's at least one. But he wants to stick to the rifle. That for sure makes sense.
It's been a manacled few rounds. And I'm curious now the Wave have lost that one, how much they can actually afford. The answer's not much. I think they saw the stats recently that showed a hero rifle in an eco is much more successful than people maybe give it credit for. The tactical pause is needed for Wave. I'm always a little bit confused onto why teams decide to pick the rounds where they're ecoing to have a bit of a team talk. Realistically, not much is going to come from this. Wait for the, I'm happy for coaches to tell me if I'm missing something, but I would wait for the full buy when you have this big round ahead of you, you have ultimates on the board, having that tac pause to talk about what's going wrong, how can they fix it, here's the strategy that we should go for. I don't know why you do it on an eco round.
I have an idea. They do that because, possibly, that when Wave actually have the buy, they don't need to take a pause because this could also give the opponent team that are realizing that the opponent can buy an idea how to counter possible changes in the buy round. Obviously, that's very far-fetched, and it could be horribly wrong.
Oh, it's also like, I guess you can see the ultimates as well. So if there's a tac pause before a big full buy, you can kind of go, all right, Wave of a Viper's Pit, they have a Blade Storm, they're probably going to do this. And it just gives you a chance to...
Could be. I just don't know. It's just the only thing. Funny-wise, in CS, in 1.6, and also recently, teams often just stay and spawn in ecos and talk through that round, because this does not give the opponent the time to actually talk about things properly.
Well, I hope that the pause wasn't about this round upcoming, because Big have already sort of put on the pressure with that early kill. Was the Blades... No, the Blades song wasn't dedicated, right?
I don't see the yellow background behind him anymore.
I don't know.
Could be blind.
Can we get a quick tab?
Toxin screen down.
It's not.
Bloody hell. No quick tap for you.
Oh, there it
you
is. No, he hasn't used it. Thank God. I thought he used it, just instantly died. That would have been
That
a
would be
nightmare.
unfortunate.
I mean, it might still be 0 and 6. Some ults do that, so I guess we'll find out in the next round.
Nice idea. Up building, so step has not been heard. Here's a rifle, and Cider is just dodging him. Still would have his ult. So actually him going in first is something that is dangerous. Alex is finding the lads who are trying to flank around. Though if they have an awareness on Sky, I don't know. It seems like he's moving backwards.
There's a lot of clumping. Nico actually holding a really odd angle, looking away. I mean, they see him clear as day. I think he was trying to play anti-flash maybe, or see if he can pincer around, but it doesn't quite work. Neither does whatever Miri was trying to do there. Insider has the Viper's Pit if he wants to use it. I don't really know if you want to dedicate it, same as Big. Looking to be flawless. Insider, even if he can just hold on to the gun, might be worth more than throwing himself in, getting that full loss bonus, and going into round number 7 for full buy and a few ultimates.
He surely doesn't want to be faced at that point. I don't believe. But if that break was already a sign that they might just get a little frantic before they start to flail, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. It's the thing, right? Because what kind of changes can we now expect from Wave on the next spy round? This is the only thing we really need to look forward to.
Literally doesn't move at all. Sider's just holding on to this angle, seeing if he can get some exit frags, but doesn't amount to much.
He got frozen.
Yeah, it's that cold. No wonder what temperature the poison of Viper's utility freezes at.
Good question. Very good.
I mean, it's a terrible question. Who cares? But
No. I'd like to know.
it's probably like minus 300 degrees centigrade.
Because
or something like
this is where I'm asking myself: is the you know what? I'm keeping it for Nico. This is a longer thing. Would have been about cars again. Stupid me. Either way, look at the kind of control they take already here towards kitchen. Quick B, just coming in.
You've got the turret there that's going to spot them. And the Viper's Pit used early from Wave is just going to immediately get the punish on. Wave need to not panic here a little bit. Might be expected, oh, it's going to be an A hit. But they need to be conscious of these two players that are in this shoot. They know that there's going to be a rough point where the turret's there. Just get that information. Zig's going to respond and work their way in.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh.
Still available. Nico tries to take the duel again for Alex I. Trades out his teammate. The rotate is there. It's really awkward for Wave to deal with as they don't have that turret to gain that information. And then alarm bot still in mid. So Zik just has to use his face to get this information.
As you see, he's just waiting until this thing starts to vanish. Same time, how much do you think that Park is on the radar? This is just what I'm asking myself. What can he play? What kind of role does he play? The first one drops.
Oh, come on.
Viper's Pit already gone.
Kagas just waits for the drop down. Maybe Alex assumed that that space was also going to be taken up by the ultimate. The Wave have done well to just be patient here. They're letting Big go for the elaborate play with the Viper utility. Just waited it out and they found openings. I'm not really sure what the plan was for Alex. It was always going to be a bit of a gamble to just pop down from the low ground. I like the wall. It separates the back of Snowman away. It was a good duel to win here against Nico.
But there it is. I mean, this is what you mentioned, isn't it? The Carcass ult has been used previous. He didn't use it in the previous round. The round previous to that was the one where we only saw a rifle. It was vanished.
I completely forgot about that for a second.
I was too. I remembered it again. But you're right. Dangerous. And,
I mean, it's not that big of a deal anyway. It was just more unfortunate that he died pretty much in the sentence where he said his ultimate. Aslan actually using the attack operator, dashes into more he preferred to dash into a more dangerous position than dash through the toxic screen to not get decayed, just in case like some shrapnel comes through and blows him over. This attack, it's not going well, is it?
No. They decided to change up the pace to some degree. It's just Opnox to me who has to make a bit of a change in his pace, which sounds weird, right? Because Gob, I know his team is so highly structured. If there was a highly structured team in Valorant, then it is this. It is definitely Gob who's always having a certain pace that he wants his team to play, which might just limit such fraggers like Opnox. At the same time, he has been flourishing already in this game, and the wall is off. He can't plant, can he?
Provides, I mean, some teams like to use this wall because they can just do that. It works out nicely. Zig sort of maybe assumes because of the depth that he's looking at that it completely covers that area. Wall's just going to be a stub in the ground now as the lockdown and the Seekers is going to force Big to play really far back. It's more of an awkward duel. Hunter's Fury forced out probably earlier than anticipated. It's just going to be that Silver left alive as the defuse is now going to be stuck from Nico. Godby has this whole gauntlet to work with. And Wave using their ultimates nicely. The lockdown take that space to Seekers to add even more pressure onto Big to not allow any post-plant utility to come in. Nice work, and Wave get that fifth.
And here's the thing that I quickly want to mention. When you asked the question about the poison orb and if at which degree it freezes, this brings me to the question, does the race boombot work on fuel? Because fuel freezes at around minus 30 degrees Celsius. And then we would know.
How cold is it in ICEBOX? Do we know?
I mean, considering Siberia, those lads have minus 30 degrees from time to time, don't they?
I mean,
They can...
imagine, like, Race isn't good on ICEBOX because her boombot literally freezes and can't do anything because of physics.
Explained. No more
It must
questions.
be electric. It must be electric. I mean, it's stolen from Killjoy, and she's like a
True.
German engineer.
I mean, how many combustion cars come from Germany? Way too many.
It's true.
I give you the point, though.
You will not
The
kill
offense.
my ally.
Resurrect now. Bringing all the players back. Muri wants to try and punish that as much as possible, and a lot of focus has gone towards B main, that these players from Big are snuck by. No Killjoy utility is here to actually stop this going through, but Nico kept an eye on it. Alexar wasn't allowed to do much. The Empress from Obnox, his position's going to be given up by the Flash, so this allows Wave to be a little bit more careful, to respect this area. They now know where Obnox is, and Cider protected his teammate perfectly.
That was crazy stuff, because at that point in time, I thought Clark has put this man already in the coffin, but that ain't happening. Aslan strikes, operator in hand with this guy, and you certainly don't want to gaze down that barrel. Muri has to learn it the hard way. And at that point in time, all the angles he checks, all the angles he gets, Nico's out of it as well. And $5,000, a good sum of money, but very well invested in young Aslan. As the lion is starting to roar, Zik is coming close. He wants to get that diffuse, sneaks around. Bishop saw him. 100% he saw him. And that will not work that easily. He expects him to move around yellow, but Bishop finds him beforehand.
Both these teams taking chunks out of each other so far. And Obnox just... Wave dealt with this threat so well on this split, so the fact that it still went in favor of Big, winning out in a 3 versus 5, still astonishes me. Locally, the money is still good for either side. There's no momentum building for either team. They're just trading out a couple of rounds at most. It's been good for Big on this attack, and Wave ESPORTS still having money, can buy up full. Aslan again with the attack up, hasn't had the same potency and impact that we've seen from him previously. Makakas actually uses his chance to slip in, get the orb, pull out the Blade Storm. Hopefully it lasts a little bit longer than it did last time. There it is, it did.
Yep. We officially know.
Yeah.
How many frags, though?
She finished the sentence, that's enough.
I always have to think of Wardell saying it.
Seems that the Blade Storm's been dedicated as well for the attack inside of Aslan. I wonder why he felt pressured enough to use it. I mean, he has an operator. He has all of the tools that he needs. Was he expecting Wave to play a bit closer? Does he want to be a bit more dynamic overall? Flash is soaring ahead, maybe not quite catching. I've never really seen that lineup. It's a good one though, but Big have their information given up. It's up their tempo a little bit. They love to take this kitchen control, but Wave have been quite good at shutting it down. They can pincer through. Bishop takes a bit of damage. Sider just making sure that there's no staggered split coming in B main.
Yeah, you can pretty much compliment them here for the fortitude, but it doesn't work that easily. Wave are still looking to find the 5th, the 6th. That's the right way around it. Aslan is on it though. You asked him why does he have his blades out? Well, he can swap if he wants to. And once more, it's young Aslan. One more, it is him who could change the pace, but it's Carcass who shuts down his counterpart. Costly for Wave. But Big will still see themselves in a quite alright economic situation. Doesn't change the matter of fact that number 6 is secured for the Wave side.
Wave love to sort of play in a style where things are a little bit less structured. It's a big fight for Cider to win there. The headshot as well connects nicely. And Aslan, so many angles to check. Carcass manages to punish him. Not actually punch him. That'd be so cruel. Not a lens yet. But I think Carcass, we've seen him play a lot of different agents. Brimstone, more controller agents. We see him back on the Jet. We haven't really seen that all that much today because we only caught that semi-final. It's nice to see him shining on an agent. Yeah. And Wave Esports overall just have a nice structure to them. Both these teams have improved a lot when it comes to agent pools, fundamentally how to know and understand the meta of the game. Feel good about both of them going into stage 3 for VCT. But I'll feel much better about whoever wins this. Viper's Pit is going to be dedicated onto A main. It's going to force Big away from that area, play towards mid where there's a lot of utility from Killjoy waiting, and the op is on B main.
Carcass is backing off big time. This is a lot of room to play with from Big, specifically considering that Alex is just ready to set his wall and also go for his retake positioning. Get the spike down. They could be easy peasy for the boys, but they definitely don't. They change the pace and direction. They want to sandwich the bomb side and come in from left, right, and center. Is it going to work that easily? Not with Sick. A very annoying and uncomfortable angle. He's playing so much on the time. Opnox is finding them in the end of the day.
He's still surrounded by a lot of players, and Godby with the Sheriff actually in the kitchen. It's going to force Wave Esports to play a little bit more loosely. And it's a bit of a weird mix of guns that are still left alive for Wave. The Spike has gone down and been ticking for quite some time, but there's no breakthrough. Cider going on a flank. Aslan is in a position to expect it, but if he's got the operator in hand, there's no way he's checking. Good. In fact, allows time for Cider. Get the knife. Oh, come on, you coward. But he does get the follow-up. That's a big one.
I think in those rounds, I can accept that he does not go for style points, but this is smart from Opnox. He keeps one narrow angle, another one eliminated, and he's collecting those knock tacks. He does not want him to get the defuse. Big R might be on the right track. Snyder, it's with the classic. There's no time whatsoever. Stop, hope, get it. Who does, but goodness gracious. Reyna saves the day.
Last round.
It's one of those things where I think that the idea for Wave was good, but it just took so long. It was way too slow with Cider going in on the flank. He had so much room to work with. And the 2 kills were pretty important, and at least going into this last round, Big can make sure that the money is tight on Wave. It's also going to be tight on themselves and just use whatever ultimates they have available. Seekers is good to go for the defenders. Not that far away from having a lockdown too. That could be a ploy for Wave Esports, but most likely just sitting passive with that utility. A lot of players on B main. Just that Silver, checking on mid. Shoot control is open for Big. Might not necessarily realize that. But as Wave Esports pushed in with a bit of aggression with bodies on B, it's now going to start to dissipate. And those openings are what Big can find, certainly when it comes to central parts of the map. The Eldron is going to give away that the B site is looking to be the point of entry.
His Wave are the ones who definitely look to have that one-round advantage. A sloppy attacker side so far for Big. Usually you would not expect that this map specifically is so driven by defenders. They now set the pace. Carcass is eliminating Aslan Jet versus Jet in favor of Wave.
Oh, Obnox has that Empress out. Hunter's Fury is available for God Beat. Vikings have gone down. They can't play that post-plant utility, and Alex are not only going to be hit by the Seekers, but his position given up as well. Obnox gets a cheeky kill onto Carcass. Nico gets a cheeky kill onto Obnox to trade out. Now just 2 players left of Big. They know that there's 1 player on the side beside it. Still backed into a corner. Clears up. Wave unfazed by that execute in the end, but it won't matter too much for Big. They're now going to be defended.
And the team of Big that has been set up with the leadership of Bob never flourished in any fashion as the name of Big, the Big Paw, would have actually indicated. But ever since they finalized their roster, which is not too long ago, where they also changed language, Big has made improvements, changes. Cracking on a daily basis has given them definitely that kind of understanding how they need to approach their game. I even counted them in as a team that could possibly get into challengers in VCT Stage 3. But now, this is a big test for them. Another one where they need to prove themselves.
Let's see how Zik can do. He's bottom fragging across the server, and a Killjoy and attack's an awkward one.
What?
The Lampot's going to be put down to stop that push gun in, but it's instantly destroyed, and Obnox is under a lot of pressure. Big gain in all of this information, and a meeting Wave head-on. 5 versus 2, Zik is going to have them all line up nicely for him, but attrition wins out. Just going to be up to Cider.
I think I saw a classic in hand, not the ideal tool. Besides that, obviously for opponents you're going to play against. So my worries are on the side for Cider. I got some doubts he's going to make a move on this. And, I mean, this felt reckless. You put the smoke down, great. You make a lot of steps in one of the most narrow paths in the world, and you don't expect to get punished for that?
Spike down.
Not so
I like the idea overall to go for an execute like that with a pistol, but it just seemed that Big had an idea of it. Whether it was anti-strat or not, hard to say. The Wave fell in line to the strategy and just fell into Big's trap overall. Not really a full buy-up in some players. Obnox still holding on to the Ghost, but it's like a Marshal, a Guardian. Wave are just going to try and go for a straightforward A hit, and Aslan postering up very aggressively. Maybe shouldn't, considering how close Wave have made it, but the Eldron gets that information, and Marshal gets that first clean shot.
Oh, Aslan and Marshal. Oh, Aslan and Marshal! Man, it's just not to be stopped with the tool. When he has the scope on, he whips. No scope, no problem! Goodness gracious, what is this little guy made of?
The triple kill no scope. I was like, okay, he's playing a bit too close. Okay, it's a bit comfortable. Oh, that's nice, that's nice. Okay, that's just criminal.
I mean,
sort it out.
why does he buy operator?
Why does he need it when he could just do that with a Marshal?
Goodness.
He's going to hold on to it. I mean, why not? You've evened up the scores now, and Wave Esports have that first pull buy. Carcass doing the old Durka trick of standing and posturing on top of those boxes. It's something that Big need to respect on this defense. It's allowing Wave a bit more pressure. The Trailblazer's going to show that yellow is clear. It's no man's land put together by the 2 toxic screens from either side. Allows Wave to actually sneak through and take quite a lot of space.
Toxin screen down. Here.
What's a mistake?
That gap in the wall is
Toxins going up.
absolutely crazy. Wait a second. It's his own wall. Pardon that. For a second, I was a little confused. That is Alex who left the gap or Wave. Either way.
Well,
A site.
it's so important as an attacker. If a Sage puts a wall up that's effectively a bit of a tripwire like it's set up in mid, you need to destroy it. Because if you don't, then the Sage easily knows that you've not taken that space, because you can't do that without destroying the wall for the most part.
30 seconds
If you
left.
destroy it, they have to pay attention to it, which is exactly why the Sage is still over there for big. They just don't know if Wave are going to push them there and try and pinch, but instead it's going to be an A hit. They find that first blood.
Spike planted.
Right now this round, as there has been a big investment by Wave. Weapons all A grade, but Bishop can make it work with the ones that are rather cheap. That is a Spectre in perfect use that has been initiated. Not quite sure if they actually put anything there to stop the defuse. Bishop's out, but it's Aslan again. But this time around, not enough. But the miracles he performs, why not?
How close was that? Did we get to see it in the end?
It must have been like...
Yeah, let's have a look. There's still a good portion of time. I thought it was a lot closer than it maybe was. Wave eSports have been pretty good on that post plan. A big round for them to win, just as big bring the scores even. Yeah. And Aslan has upgraded the godly no-scope Marshal to that operator. Doesn't have any armor, so can easily be punished. Look at that early aggression on A. He's actually taken all of this space and he finds nothing. It's because Wave are quite happy to give away that they've made the space, taken it aggressively onto B main, if at least just to get the ult. Might be massive when it comes to the ult.
Look at the room. Oh, this is such a perfect angle of Aslan, but he's afraid of Nico, understandably. Such a tight angle. Oh, what? Zik is expecting him there and finds such a shot. This is $5,000 that have been left in the mud.
Wave can make this round even better. They have a lockdown. They could put it in his position. That's exactly what they do. Big now need to respect this, but trying to line up some shock dart utility, quite average Jonas level, as it doesn't quite connect onto much at all from Wave. And lockdown is going to deploy and detains absolutely nobody and provides a small brief window for the spike to go down.
Mr. Average shock dart is not odd Bob enough, but if he needs any lessons, surely we can hit him up. In the meantime, information they tried to gain, but no, nothing found. Not a single player that they have now information about. Still, trying to make that retake work, and Alex starts off good. Obnox is obviously on the hunt, and he's looking for his prey. Left, right, and center he needs to check. As those darts are coming in, Signer with a crucial peek that does not pay off. No ammo, but still, it's Gop who's guiding him.
About 5 seconds left or so? Yeah, 6. Good retake from Big. And the lockdown was respected from Big. They didn't want to go a bit too hot and heavy. Obnox is the one that sort of opens all this up. This kill onto Cider is such a big one. Could have even got a nice 4K if it wasn't for the embarrassing reload that was needed, but it happens. The rest of Big is there to follow up as needed. Really is not much to separate these two teams. Both have taken a map off of each other, and in this grand final, it's still 8-all. Now Big looking to take that lead. Money is starting to buffer. The operator still in the hands of Aslan, and Wave have nothing to work with. Just going to be picking up sheriffs and maybe a little bit of armor.
Here comes the wall from Alex, which by the way has a very tiny gap on from Zigna to the right-hand side. It can be abused. It's down again, a little prematurely maybe, as suddenly the long-range classic in combination with the Sheriff find the frag. The Trailblazers are coming out, trying to identify where everybody's coming from. This could work out. A 50 round maybe in favor of Wave right here.
Ooh, yeah. Bigger having to dedicate the Blade Storm as well. Operator might not be good enough, and both Blade Storms are used. It's a good round to dedicate stuff to if you're Wave eSports. There is a Hunter's Fury available too, as Muri gets that headshot. 4 versus 3. Big look a bit frantic with how they want to go about this, and Muri gets another with the Sheriff. He's having a grand old time. Aslan has to put it together. The Blade Storm's missing. Has to dash out as the Operator's the only weapon he has to work with. But it's working out nicely. He gets the kill onto Muri. And right into the back of Zik. Ooh, that was looking sweaty bum time a little bit for Big.
My goodness.
1 second left.
If there was a team that caused a lot of turmoil right now, It was Wave. And goodness, they put screws on him big time. How sloppy and at the same time strong. Look at this. This is why I love the slow-mo. That's Nico. And the next one again, amazing stuff from him. A-class player, no doubt.
The alarm bot tries to stop him
Stop!
on his murderous rampage, but I mean, Aslan, what at least he does is that pressure. He's got the operator, really should be winning those fights, but it allows all of Wave to focus the pure attention onto Aslan, who's on the corner, and Obnox can take those peaks uncontested, really. Easy cleanup for him, and honestly, overall, we're going to say how great Aslan was there. Obnox is so good at just being on cleanup duty, constantly. 2Ks, 3Ks, 4Ks. The man is a machine overall.
Poison's off. No fuel.
Wild man. Honestly. I gotta say, when we talk about this duo, this is the leading charge of it. They supercharge
Screen down.
the situation of the team where they maybe lacked firepower in the past, but now they found the two individuals that can work together so well and open up room. And talking about opening up room, Big is giving them none of that.
It's always been a bit of a lurk from Wave in mid. The Sage Wall is there again to stop players from pushing through shoot. To say that it's just deteriorated down. But we're not seeing Cider push to take that space.
30
It's more of
seconds
a
left.
late lurker overall. Alexar misses all of the action, but Bishop somehow, however, gets 3 kills from his position. Clumsy execute from Wave.
Still Yuri quite deep, and for a second I thought he might have the ability to change something. Not capable of doing so. Gob is just dancing around the
10
pillar.
seconds left.
He's getting beheaded at the end of the day. The spike's still not in the hand of Cider. He will not be able to decide the fate of this round. This fate belongs to Big. Double digits have been secured. Costly, but worth it again.
This will have a replay of what went wrong with that execute. Moves through nicely. Bishop is right behind. The flash does come in, but it's just a spray and pray. Maybe the awkwardness of Alexar kind of pushing through the toxic screen as everybody else went through, the revolving door. Just put off Wave enough that Bishop can just get some easy cleanup. The buy for Wave is moderate. Guardian, Spectre, mostly the Vandals and Phantoms on show. Hunter's Fury and a Viper's Pit. Probably going to be a quick A hit, get the spike planted, Viper Pit down. Might have a rough retake if that's going to be the case, but Aslan's wanting to shut it down post-haste.
Aslan has to back off at this point, and Yuri sitting off at this point in time. He creates chaos. They all have to do this air dance. Aslan is hitting as usual. Funny why he's not hitting such a headshot, but I mean, the man has to fail at one point. Big in the driver's seat in this round, number 19.
Thunder and Operator shots are just more warnings to Muri, who's now been a bit more considered with how he wants to execute this. Dad's going to go in onto the corner, but a toxic screen from the attackers actually blocks up Aslan's position for the most part. Obnox is here to save the day yet again, but
no!
the running Guardian can't quite connect onto the shots. As Wave are just down to one player. This was a half full buy, whatever they could afford. They might have to eco next. Muri surrounded on all fronts. Kind of expects the player to wrap around. He'd be right, but his timing was just a little bit off. They've got him boxed in the corner. There's not much he can do.
Bishop's smart enough to now taking him out. Brilliant stuff. He has been previously the IGL of Lunaris, which, by the way, was also the lineup where High Kitty as well as Cider played in. So the man definitely got some good game knowledge. Also one of the most... Sure. And here they come. Here they bring another round. And here it is Big. Look like they might secure a victory on a map where they previously lost in the quarterfinal. So you could say a weaker opponent, actually.
I mean, I'm gonna come and say it again. I think whoever wins that game out of Big All the Rage was gonna win the tournament, and All the Rage are a very good squad. It's a map that they were better prepped on. Wave aren't really doing this. Big seem to be just very good at dealing with some of the losses and coming back faster than they did before. They lost against Wave in pretty dominant fashion yesterday, but they could win out this series at this point. a little bit of a gap trying to be forced and breaking the wall. There's no better weapon really to do that. I think a lot of it comes down to Bishop controlling the middle part of this map, and Wave ESPORTS, even when mid's been open, being unable to do anything with it.
Muri must be so mad that the ponytail has no hitbox of Sage. I mean, that looked like a clean shot on the head, but that didn't happen. And they still fight for it. And they fight for it against Cherish, which is then debatable because considering what you lose, it become problematic. Aslan keeps his position. The guard will stay there, slow as they are. That will not bring you anything. He just has to back off. That lockdown will not hit him.
One player was actually detained. A bit awkward. Now the Viper's pit is going to be coming in on the attack as the spike goes down. It was the game plan for Wave ESPORTS overall. They have the Seekers, they use the Seekers to see what they can find, and they find Alexar trying to wrap in around. Utility more used to keep him at bay more than take the fight head on, as I think Nico feels that he has a bigger job to do.
That's true. Oh, no way. Bob just does that. Incredible stuff as he jumps into the Toxic. Bishop will start. Good stuff from him. It will all go down. And as Nico is just up on the ropes, it seemed fail-safe, but they failed in the end. And that is number 12. The big paw from Berlin.
Match point, Wave ESPORTS. The money has been kind of rough and rugged over the past few rounds, but maybe not more so than this one. They can still pick up everything that they need, luckily. But there's no ultimates to rely on. We get replays and replays, and I wonder, like, obviously as a person that doesn't really have much hair, I wonder how much it would hurt if you had your hair in a ponytail and somebody shot a bullet through it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would that hurt? Probably still hurt quite a lot. It'd make your ears ring. That's not very nice, but...
At the end of the day, I mean, it's just cutting hair in a different way.
I mean, I don't want... like, yeah, I'm not booking a hair appointment for that kind of place.
Understandable.
Shot back and sides. No, I don't want that.
Well, it's gonna be fast for you. I will have troubles. You know, I will take big caliber, I guess.
This is why Tom went bald.
because he had an
running that
accident, or
risk.
either way, it could be the final round. It could be big, picking up a victory at the grand final of the Eurat Valorant Vanquisher series. They're close, but 4 rounds. That's not too much.
It's good pressure at least to try and take Aslan off this angle, but ever since he's had the operator on his defense, it's been so difficult for Wave ESPORTS to shut it down. Obnox maybe not expecting Muri to be that aggressive on that angle. And Big are actually backed into a little bit of a corner. They stopped that Silver from getting a bit over egregious with this execute, and the Recon Dart's going to get some information that Big can use for themselves. Robbie's actually slipped onto the high ground. That's a big kill onto Carcass.
They didn't have him on the radar that they would make that move, but now he can back off. He has his ult. At that point in time, he's like, I'm out of here. Leave me alone. I don't want to have any more fights. You can just count on me when they actually plant. In 45 more seconds, Cider and his teammates gotta make one hell of a play at this, especially because they play against Aslan. As I say it, he's out. Revive would be still there for Big. Alex falls, and this is becoming problematic for the German side. Switching the position, that could be an option for Wave. But do they? Nope, they'll stick to it. And here comes the fake. Too cheap for him.
Well, there's 20 seconds left. They can't rotate away from the site, so Big might want to be a bit passive on this. They can get the Resurrect, they can bring a player in, but Bishop going down to 1 HP because of the decay. It's just making things rather difficult now as Wave get that spike planted just in time. That's all up to God B to try and clutch it out in a 1 versus 3. It would be an apt way to finish this final series, but maybe a bit above his pay grade overall. Wave are still in this. 3 more rounds, they could bring it to overtime. But Big's money after winning 5 rounds in a row before finally being punished. We imagine another operator available for Aslan, right? He's got 8k. Of course he does.
I'm 100% sure, Ryan, that Wave was actually saying to themselves, you know what? If we now immediately plant and stick it, he'll take us down. So once clicking it, immediately moving away. And this is not only getting them around, this is costly for Big in the sense that they lose a pivotal ult. Well, we're going to find out if they are just now using theirs. Reyna and Jet would be on it.
I'm a little bit concerned because other teams will punish this more. Aslan's trying to go for this over-egregious peek that takes out Carcass. No Resurrect to bring him back. He had the Operator in hand. Aslan's still trying to play from this angle. Wave are managing to push him away. They even have to double check it just in case he's still there.
Uh-oh.
They do take him out. The rest could bring him through, but
What?
Muri's maybe saved Wave eSports here.
This is ridiculous because it seemed like the high ground and the
Spike
off
planted.
angle they were picking, no way that Wave can capitalize on it. But here's the limbo starts. The limbo of economic drought and terrifying fear could come the way of Big. Because I don't know how the economy looks of everybody, but surely Gob, or more likely Pardon, I think that was Bishop, was on 700 credits. It will not look better for the others.
Nice to see a bit of a response for Wave eSports overall. They're still prepped with their utility just in case. If anything, it's a bit of a fire drill to practice it, make sure that they're all set up, but as you see in Big aren't even contesting it, they're just going to save onto the guns that they can afford. 10, 12. Wave eSports could just nick this away from Big. Would be a cruel way to do it, but at least we'd go to overtime. That's the confirmation, the security the Big have here. Now that they've been spending big money, not enough money for an operator for Aslan yet again. But Ultimate's now coming through. This res has been sat on just in case, but when Wave hit, they hit hard enough that Big don't get a moment to breathe and recuperate their losses.
It needs one hell of an Android play from the side of Wave to now make a change. Hear the loud watch this, so Big is putting out their ult. Aslan is on it. Muri starts, and he wants that away. He wants that out of it. Oh, does he take Opnox as well? Yep, 2 players are now attacked, and this could become a problem. The defense is somewhat weakened as that little Trailblazer finds nothing.
Opnox is still trying to hold on to this angle. He still gets one before he can dismiss out. Could be a big hero. Aslan is out yet again. 4 versus 4. Bladestorm Macacus is ready and waiting. The Resurrect could bring back Aslan in this server if it's needed, but they need to thwart this pressure that Wave is constantly putting in. They bring it back now. Numbers advantage good for Big. Obnox trying to get back into that early position he was in.
You should run.
They don't even consider changing the pace. The attacker Killjoy, a quite good one. Most definitely this would give them the room and the opportunity. Uh-oh, both need to run away. They need to run fast. And will be possibly one player detained in Opnox. You could just become the victim of this. They know that it's actually the Blades that are just waiting up there. Still goes for the plan. Oh, he comes around. Aslan's being punished. All those ults again and again. Bob will try to make a change as he finally finds a kill for his squad. The flash is too close. Alex has taken the room, but Carcass strikes. It's one more. It is the IGL from the German side, the veteran that could make a difference. But 30 points of health, it could be better for him. Makes a move, goes up the ropes, has an info dart if needed, finds the first. Still one more, and that can't be happening that easy as he tries for the defuse. Zig has been spotted. The man sticking it. Not that same mistake again as they're coming around. He has the high ground. Gop goes and he finds it. Big Brain Gop is finishing the chapter, and this is the 13 for the Germans. But in what fashion?
If it was a couple of months ago, if you told